Do you think about organizing your professional connections in your head or your CRM into really neat categories like past clients, vendors, colleagues? What if I told you that this common approach, which I thought was the right thing to do for years, is fundamentally flawed and might actually be sabotaging your relationship building efforts? So I'm Svi Band, and today I'm sharing a powerful framework I've developed called the grocery store test that has transformed how thousands of professionals prioritize their time with their relationships. And honestly, it really changed my own approach as well once this started to come to light. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why emotional affinity matters more than logical categorization, how to honestly assess your true feelings about your connections, and most importantly, how to build a sustainable relationship management approach that you'll actually stick with. Now, this isn't just a theory. It's a practical tool that's helped countless professionals build more authentic and valuable relationships. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself staring at your CRM or address book, seeing the name of someone who you should reach out to, but finding every possible excuse not to do it? Or worse, closing your CRM entirely to avoid the whole situation? Years ago, I was working with yet another real estate agent who was struggling with her follow-up system. She had meticulously categorized every single past client, every lead, every referral source in her database. Perfect organization system, right? But when I asked her which relationships she was actively nurturing, she confessed that despite her beautiful system, she was barely reaching out to anyone. So what's stopping you? I asked. After some honest conversation, the truth emerged that many of the important people in her perfectly categorized database were people she simply didn't enjoy talking to. Some past clients had been difficult. Some potential referral sources felt very transactional and uncomfortable. Even though she knew that she should be talking to them and she knew generally what to say, the thought of calling them made her want to run in the opposite direction. So that's when it hit me. We needed a completely different approach to relationship prioritization. One based not just on business potential, but on genuine human connection. What I came to realize is that at its core, networking isn't about managing categories of people. It's about nurturing real connections over time. And you can't sustain relationships you actively avoid. So that is where this grocery store test comes in. You ready? It's a very simple thought experiment. So imagine you're shopping for groceries. You do still walk into a grocery store every once in a while, right? You turn the corner into, let's say, the cereal aisle and spot someone from your professional network. It could be someone you interviewed for a job with. It could be a past client. In that split second, what's your gut reaction? Are you going to feel excited, drop what you're doing, and rush over for a warm conversation or even a hug? Do you feel pleasant but measured, offering maybe a friendly wave and a brief catch up before continuing shopping? Or do you feel a sense of dread and you pretty much just drop your shopping basket and sneak out the back door to avoid them entirely? In fact, leaving your kids in the shopping cart screaming, but just so you can avoid that social situation. The beauty of this test is that it bypasses your logical categorization. Past client, vendor, investor, and it gets straight to what matters most in relationship building, which is your genuine emotional response. See, when we feel a connection to someone, we're reaching out to someone and it doesn't feel like work. It feels natural. We're motivated to maintain that relationship. But when we feel dread or discomfort, we'll find endless reasons to procrastinate, no matter how important that person might be on paper. So here's where most professionals get it wrong. First, they believe that all relationships in the same category deserve equal attention. All past clients should get the same follow-up on the same cadence. All vendors, the same check-in. This ignores the reality that some relationships are naturally stronger and more energizing than others for no other reason than just the two human beings on each side of that relationship. Second, they think that prioritization should be based solely on potential value, right? How many dollar signs you attach to a person, focusing on the wealthiest clients or most connected referral sources. But if you dread every interaction with that valuable connection, you're likely to avoid reaching out altogether. And let's face it, there's a very good chance that if you are dreading that connection, that it might be the same in return. Third, they assume relationship management is purely about disciplines and system and logic. That's a great idea, but remember, we're human beings. So while systems matter, they can't overcome your deep emotional resistance to engaging with people you don't genuinely connect with. So the truth is, sustainable networking isn't about forcing yourself to maintain connections that drain you. It's about being honest about which relationships energize you and then creating systems that make it easy to nurture those connections. So here's how to apply the grocery store test more practically to transform your relationship management. Step number one is to audit your current connections. So I'd like you to go through your network, CRM, contact list, however you track your network. Again, I want you to imagine running into them at a grocery store and noting your gut reaction. So hug, those are gonna be the people you're genuinely excited to see. Wave, the people you feel neutral to positive about. And then run, the people who make you want to head for the loading dock. Step number two is to reorganize based on affinity. Instead of, or rather in addition to organizing purely based on category, right? You can create a new additional organization system that leverages that emotional connection as a primary filter. So your A list, these are people you genuinely enjoy and want to maintain relationships with, right? Those are the hug category. Your B list, these are people you feel good about, but aren't necessarily your strongest connections. So those are the people you give a wave to. Your C list are people you'd rather avoid when possible, right? So run. By the way, that doesn't mean you never engage with your C list. Sometimes business necessitates it, but it does mean you stop pretending you'll consistently reach out to them on your own. Step number three is to create different engagement strategies. For your A list, this might be setting up personal, really high-touch outreach. These are the people you'll actually enjoy checking in, meeting for coffee, meeting for dinner, buying gifts for. Your B list, this might be a little more structured, occasional check-ins. And your C list, be honest about your limitations. Consider whether these relationships are necessary at all or if they could be managed differently or even delegated. As I like to simplify it down, your A's will get dinner invites and personal gifts. Your B's will get the occasional check-in from time to time, and your C's, they'll get your newsletter. And step four is to set realistic expectations. I want you to be honest with yourself about how many relationships you can genuinely maintain. I think it's better to nurture 20 really authentic connections than to pretend you'll stay in touch with 200 people who you know you won't. So here's a real world example. One of my clients, consultant, reduced her active network from 150 people to just 35 based on the grocery store test. So she now spends the same amount of time on outreach, but focuses exclusively on those connections she genuinely enjoy. The result? Her referral business has actually increased because those 35 people feel her authentic interest and are much more likely to reciprocate. So let's bring this full circle. The grocery store test isn't just about making networking more enjoyable, though it certainly does that. It's also about creating a sustainable approach to relationship building that you'll actually stick with long term. Because when you prioritize connections based on genuine affinity, you'll eliminate the resistance that causes most networking efforts to fail. You're gonna stop, hopefully, dreading opening up your CRM, and you'll start actually looking forward to talking to people. So here's your immediate next step. I would like you to take 10 minutes today to run the grocery store test on the last 20 people you've communicated with professionally in some way. Be brutally honest with yourself about your gut reaction to each person. Just because they made it onto your calendar doesn't necessarily mean that they're automatically an A. Then reorganize your outreach priorities accordingly. Now remember, authentic relationships are built on genuine connection, not obligation. The grocery store test gives you permission to invest your relationship building energy where it's most likely to thrive. So again, I'm Band. I'd love to hear how the grocery store test transforms your approach to networking. Feel free to drop a comment below sharing your biggest insight from applying this framework. Thanks.